You're doing rehearsals with Jennie for Coachella this weekend.
Correct.
What is a week like leading into Coachella?
She had a lot of opinions and really clear direction on what she wanted, which I love as a music director.
One thing that a lot of people don't know about going into these shows is how often the artist is not around for rehearsals. They come in final production rehearsal day.
Yes. When we did our first Post Malone tour, 7 p.m. the night before the first show, he just sits with me and the production manager, goes, "Okay, sir, tell me what I got to do." And I'm like, oh my goodness, the show is tomorrow.
Dua Lipa.
Yes.
You've been with Dua from the beginning.
The very first rehearsal we did, we all knew it was going to happen. We just looked around and were like, oh, okay, like this, she's really good.
So you had Dua Lipa and BLACKPINK with your new company.
Yes.
That's crazy.
We just delivered the new Dua World Tour. We have the new Jennie show, which is now going to the Coachella show now.
Yeah.
Just delivered the new FKA Twigs tour. Fundamentally, going into any of these projects, like, I'm a fan. I just tell people confidently what I'd like to see at their show.
Yes.
And if it works once in a while, people start trusting your opinion.
How did you make the decision to be like, I don't want to be the drummer anymore. I just want to be the music director and focus on that?
So we did SNL and I had this big old panic attack actually. And that night I was just like, yeah, I think that's the end of me drumming actually.
Go.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Sitting here with me today, an incredible human being, one of the top musical directors coming out of the UK. Current and or recent artists include.
Yeah.
Dua Lipa, Post Malone, BLACKPINK, the Kid Laroi, Jennie, Addison Rae, FKA Twigs. Ladies and gentlemen, make a ton of noise for William Bowerman.
I like that. That's good.
You're used to this sound.
Yeah, no. I like it here. It's better because it stops.
Yeah, it stops.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I like that.
Every artist wishes they could just be like, okay,
And now we're done.
just
Thank
listen.
you.
Just listen.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thanks for
asking
being
me
here,
to
man.
be here.
I'm glad we got to hang in person.
Me too.
So we were emailing today because I was like, yo, bro, I'm going to be in London next week. And he was like, yo, I'm in LA right now. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, dang. Want to come do the pod? Let's do the pod. Oh, how about today?
Today.
Let's go. So a couple hours later,
Here we are.
good to see you, William.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. So you're in town for Coachella.
Yes.
You're doing rehearsals with Jennie for Coachella this weekend.
Correct.
Okay. How's it going?
It's going very well.
How do you approach Coachella? That's like, it's like the biggest festival, I would say, globally, definitely in the US. Like when you get the call, like, all right, we're doing Coachella, you have Jennie. How do you put the Jennie show together for Coachella?
Do you know what? It's interesting. I think that I was here a month ago doing Jennie's headline show. It's her first show she's ever done solo.
Nice.
And so that's actually really new. So I think when we made that show, then we were already kind of going, okay, cool, let's build this for these shows. But at Coachella, we could just snip that. So we kind of already worked out kind of what we were doing when we were building the show in January. So we had a quite clear idea. For me, I think of Coachella a bit like it's more like doing a TV show than doing a festival. It has to be an advert.
Yeah.
You know,
Especially because the broadcast is so big now.
Yeah, exactly. Like we saw what it did to Sabrina, was it last year or year before, when she just suddenly, it felt like the beginning of everything when she started with that show there. And I think that for me, I think of it as a bit of a big advert. Kind of, let's cut out the stuff that requires a lot of attention. Let's make it all a little bit quicker. Let's cut out second verses. Let's smash cut into other things. I just try and keep it really, really quick, fast paced.
Move it.
Because like if someone buys a ticket to see Jennie, they will know the songs, they will know Jennie, they will sit through it, they will want to feel the ebbs and flows of a show. I think the more casual listener for anyone at Coachella just wants attention, especially in 2025. The attention span of everyone is so much less. So for me, it's about snipping things down, making things quicker, making the joins quicker. If we're going to do things, keep it segue. Don't leave much time for applause and stop. Keep the music going the whole time.
For sure.
Fast.
For sure.
Basically.
Yeah, it's a good point. Because if I wouldn't buy a ticket to Jennie personally, I would go to see you and your show. But I would, if I was at Coachella, I'd be like, let's go. I want to pop in and see this Jennie show.
Exactly. So it needs to be all the best bits.
Yeah.
And none of the bits where you have to really concentrate.
How long's the set?
45 minutes.
So, and you already had a headline show.
We had a headline show, which was an hour and 10.
Yeah.
So
the best of.
The best of.
Yeah.
Exactly. Greatest hits.
Greatest transitions.
Yeah. The greatest transitions. All the costume changes and the transitions. That's it. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's it like working with Jennie?
She's brilliant. She's really amazing. We did some work with BLACKPINK on the last tour. We did, my wife Ace was the creative director of the tour, and we did all the kind of interstitial music for all their all the videos that happened on stage when they were doing the costume change and all that, and these kind of show intros and the trailers and everything. We made all the music for it.
Nice.
And I remember at the time she had a lot of opinions and really clear direction on what she wanted, which I love as a music director. I hate, just make it different. That doesn't work for me. But she had really clear ideas on what she wanted. And
Jennie did.
Nice. And I really like that.
Yes.
Same with the show here.
Absolutely.
She's very clear, has very good ideas. She's a great performer. She's done it for years and years and years. And obviously she's done it at the highest level for so long. Since she was a teenager, right? Even, very early teens.
Yeah.
So I really, really, you listen when she gives feedback because it's always really good.
That's awesome.
And that's the best way. That's honestly the best way. Like, I love it. So she's phenomenal. Really great.
So BLACKPINK so you did that. You worked on that with your wife.
Yeah.
But your wife had the creative director gig first?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's great.
WFB, man.
Yeah.
Getting around. We're going to talk all about this, by the way. I want to have get into WFB.
Great. Okay. Of course.
Which is William's company, if you don't know.
Yeah.
With his wife, co-founded with his wife.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ace is the creative director. She's doing BLACKPINK. You're on doing music direction for some of it.
Yeah. Kind of more like the kind of producing music for the show. There was a music director. I forget his name. We didn't really meet him, but he was doing the band. He was doing the show. And then we ended up doing all the kind of making all the interstitials and remixing loads of stuff and making all the we need 3 minutes of music here, and we kind of made all this. And we met the production team, we met Jennie, and obviously my wife met the whole BLACKPINK team. And then when she came around for this show, we got hip about it again, whether we wanted to do the whole music direction, put the band together and everything. And
nice.
Of course we said yes.
So where did that come from to get the Jennie gig?
I think just through meeting everyone on BLACKPINK.
Yeah.
And I think obviously, the girls have all gone their separate ways for now. They're coming back in the summer, but they all went and did their own solo records, and all kind of built their own teams. And was really happy that Jennie got in touch with us. Yeah,
it's crazy the amount of success they've all had individually.
It's amazing.
What the heck?
It's amazing.
Imagine if NSYNC did that and actually had success outside of just in a little bit of Lance.
This is it. And then this
they
summer,
all have smashes.
And then this summer, going back to doing stadiums again.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
Wow.
It's their work ethic. I was actually talking to James, who works at WFB yesterday. He's in with Jennie at the moment. And he was just saying the work ethic of all the production and her and everyone. He was just like, I've just done a 15-hour day and I'm inspired to do more. Like, I want more. Like, everyone is just like working so hard and for the sole reason of wanting to be the absolute best it can be. And I love that. I love that so much.
So Jennie's team is different than Lisa's team is different than they all have their own, all of them are going at the same time. So they have to, right?
Yes, correct.
Because Lisa's playing Friday, Jennie's playing Sunday.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, exactly. And but I think the production manager, Mia, she's on BLACKPINK. So we met Mia through that BLACKPINK and she's doing Jennie.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. So there's there's a big camp that then grows within the four girls.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's cool. It's been amazing to see. It's actually been really amazing to see.
What a wild thing to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. And it's funny, like obviously the success they have, that they're so big within BLACKPINK and now obviously individually too have had huge success. And it's funny that when we did this Jennie show here, we did LA, we did New York, we did Paris, and we did Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
And in LA, we did kind of underplays, and it was like 2 nights. I forget where it was, but it was like 7,000 cap in LA. So we did 14,000 tickets there and 2 nights at Radio City. And then in Seoul was like, oh, we're doing the stadium or something. And it was just like 60,000 people. Like, okay, fine. So yeah, she's royalty over there as well.
Yeah,
so,
I can only imagine that energy over there.
Yeah, I'd love to have gone, but
wow.
It didn't quite work out, unfortunately.
So with Jennie, how do you approach a show with her? And how much of the vision does she already have? You already said she has a lot of ideas. She knows what she wants. Like, how would you describe like her vision and then you coming together with yours? Do
you know what? It's interesting because we only briefly met. We actually hung out. Me and Jennie met. I don't even know if she remembers this, but we met with in 2018.
Yeah.
When I was out with Dua Lipa in New York, and she's good friends with BLACKPINK, and they all came. We were at the Ludlow, and they all came for drinks, and we just hung out all evening. And actually, I spent the evening hanging out with Jennie.
Yeah.
And we got on really well there. And I think that kind of I had an idea of what she was into musically, and listening to this record, we got it a little bit in advance, of course, and it was clear that she was trying to make some, very different and interesting choices from what she'd done before.
Yeah.
It was clearly a big departure from what she'd done, which I found really inspiring and very exciting. For me, going into a show like this, I would always rather be laughed out the door for suggesting too much than going in and being boring.
Yes.
Always. I would prefer people to go, yeah, it didn't work with him. He tried to remix everything and made this crazy show and did all this weird stuff. That's more exciting than going, yeah, it was fine. We just played the songs and it wasn't exciting. So I'll always push it too far.
Yeah.
So what we did, I think we got brought on, it was very, very end of December. So we had Christmas and then we spent January building the show.
Yeah.
And then Jennie was in town the second or third week of January. She was in London for like 2 nights. And she flew straight in from Seoul and got a car straight to the studio, and we met her in the studio.
What is your process like since as you as this live show music producer, are you just immediately then, are you like, where do you start? Are you thinking set list? Are you thinking like, wait, I want to do this long disco version of this? And then you kind of just go into your studio and just start programming and experimenting? Like, what is your process like even before it gets into, all right, now we're in rehearsals?
For me, it's narrative. I'm a lyric person as well, so I will look at lyrics a lot. They tell the story, that's the script, right? So I'll read lyrics. I think it always has to be not what we've done before. That's a big thing. But for me, yes, set list. Set list starts everything, and we do that. That's the first thing in our process, is just sitting down, working on what we think would be a great opener, closer, staggering singles throughout, putting things in places that we hadn't necessarily thought they could work before.
Yeah.
Especially with someone like Dua, that we've done shows for 10 years, it becomes harder and harder, obviously, to kind of reinvent the wheel. So for me, set list is the first thing. Set list and narrative. The narrative for me, even if like some shows you are given a narrative by a creative director and they will go, do you know what? This bit here is going to be us, oh God, I don't know, walking into a restaurant and there's this and then that. And then we go here and we go to a club, and I know I'm just making up some crap, but you know what I mean? You can sometimes be given like a script of like, this is what it needs to be. Or sometimes even here is a set list, work from there. With Dua, it's different. It starts from music direction. And actually it's like, okay, make a show and we'll respond to it. So we start with the set list, we'll work from there, we'll work with a narrative. We'll have an internal narrative, which sometimes we don't even tell Dua or the producers or creative or anyone. We'll come up with a story ourselves of like, and then she's doing this and then she's on some night out and then this thing happens and then that could be this song. And we'll create a story for ourselves because we find it easier to build shows like we're soundtracking a film.
Yeah.
So in our eyes, it's like, okay, we're 2/3 of the way through. What is she feeling at this point? She's feeling this. Okay, great. Sonically, let's pull it this way then. And most people will never even know those stories. We have them. Internally, we come up with them. My wife's really good at this.
That's really cool.
Because she's a creative director. So she'll be like, okay, well, it's a story. And we'll come up with it. And we'll have an idea based on, on Dua's, the tour was called Radical Optimism. And the album was called Radical Optimism. It's like, great, how do we work from that? What does that mean to us? What does that make us feel?
Yes.
It makes me feel this. And Charles might be like, it makes me feel this. And Trudy will be like, it makes me feel this. Like all within our team. And we'll pick from it and what we like, come up with a set list there. Then what we will do is we will pitch the set list first. We'll make sure that everyone is happy within the team. And if they are, great, we'll start making arrangements. So we will then, from there, we will experiment and we will play and we will take risks. I think like New Rules is an example of that. Like we've done it for 4 world tours now. And like you said, there are songs that far exceed that now as far as success. So it now became a song we could play with and we'd never play with it. It used to always have to finish the show and now it doesn't.
Yes.
So we were like, okay, what if we make a really, really heavy remix of this song? What if we make it super dark and it's a track version of it and it's got like, kind of IDM nods to Mohawk and things like this? Like, what if we make some really weird choices here? And sure, the chorus feels the same so that people who bought the ticket can still enjoy it, but then we remix the end and it's crazy. And then you could get everyone down on the floor and then we jump up and do all this. And, so we'll come up with all these ideas. For me, there always needs to be something in every song. You need to be able to come to me and go, oh yeah, New Rules, you do that bit where this happens. Or, oh, Don't Start Now. I love it when this thing happens in there.
Yes.
And that's not, I love it when there's a bass fill. That no one cares. No one is a bass player in the audience. It needs to be, I love it when this moment happens.
Yes.
So what we will do is sit with the set list and go, okay, well, what is our moment in every song? The moment could be that nothing happens. The moment could be, we have something in the show at the moment where we were like, we need a ballad. And we had this song, we're like, this would be a beautiful ballad. So we made a ballad version. And at the end, we were like, do you know what? That's so vulnerable when you sing it. First of all, try it with no piano. Just sing it a cappella. And she did it a cappella. We were like, that's brilliant. But she sang it in the room. We were warming up. And I was like, okay, now when you do it live, hold the mic down here. And you're in an arena and you can hear her in the background. It makes the crowd, if this works, the crowd are going to be silent and they're going to hear you ambiently singing. That's going to be really special.
Yeah.
And we tried it at the Albert Hall and we had this orchestra. And you could have heard a pin drop.
Sick.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
And, it was a collaborative effort, but it was an idea of like a moment that happens within the show. So yeah, we'll do set
Yes.
list, a narrative. We'll find our moments that we want to be in there, and then we make the arrangements and we pitch them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. And usually, like Dua said to me the other day, I was like, I want to make this really weird. And she's like, just do it. She'll always go weirder than too weird. So we always try and push things in strange direction. But yeah, that's kind of the usual. Of course, every show is a little bit different. But for me, it's set list, it's narrative, it's overall vision of the show, it's moments within songs.
And is your wife creative director for Dua?
No, she has done. She did we did a Tiny Desk that was the most viewed one.
Yes.
She was the creative director for that.
Nice, that's awesome.
She's done a few bits with Dua, but not for the tour, no.
That's
it's a great
so
person
fun,
called
dude.
David Black, who's just come in and he's been absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
Really great.
All right, so let's talk about WFB.
Yes, please.
All right, so WFB is your company.
Yes.
Co-founded you and your wife.
Correct.
So at what point did you start it? That was Dua was already going,
Mhm.
right? And you were musical directing Dua. Were you not drumming anymore?
I was not drumming anymore.
You were not drumming anymore. You're doing Dua. Was it that like other opportunities came in? Like how did WFB become a thing?
Do you know what? I could talk about this for days because I love it so much. So I come off the road. Someone said to me when I was coming off the road, they were like, well, you need to think about whether you want to do some teaching as well or this or that, because no one has enough work to be a music director full time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right, I hear what you're saying. You've now fueled my fire.
Watch me.
I think about that daily.
That's
and
so
it's
great.
caused so many problems. But
slow down, Will.
Yeah, exactly. So I came off the road, and that first Dua tour did quite well. And in the UK, certainly, it's a much smaller market, so people learn very quickly who did what. Now, at the end of that run, when that was coming to an end, I had 3 offers of tours to do. It was an amazing rapper called Loyal Kana, a great producer called Jax Jones, and a singer-songwriter called Tom Walker. And the rehearsals were all at the same time. And I was like, brilliant, let's do it. I hadn't given it any thought of how at all. So I was like, let's do it, because ultimately, I liked all the music.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to choose. I wanted to do all of it. Like had all the, house music that I love and songwriting music I love and rap that I love. And I was like, I want to do all of this. Anyway, it became very apparent very, very quickly this wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll ask my friend Trude, who's a music director, can you come in and look after this session for me? He's like, yeah, of course. And I asked Matty, who's in Dua's band, to come in and look after one. And I didn't know how to manage people or anything at all at this point. So it went terribly. It went really, really badly. Not through the work of anyone else, but just because I wasn't across it all right.
Right.
But it did make me think, like, everyone was like, oh, well, you should just pick one. I was like, why? I was like, this isn't me being greedy, but like, I love all of this music and I don't want to just work with one artist, no matter how good they are. I want to work with loads of people. I want to work with like pop and rap and rock and blah, 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 blah. I want to do all of it. I was like, okay, well, if this was any other industry, because I don't, there's a lot of the music industry, which I'm sure we could talk about this for a long time, that it feels a bit archaic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about, I was like, if this is any other industry, if you were an architect or if you had any success and people were coming to you and you were getting more clients, what would you do? You'd expand.
Yeah.
That's what everyone in every industry does. I was like, why has this never been the case in music direction? Now, maybe it has been the case and I'm completely wrong, but in the UK, there was
In the UK, it wasn't. Maybe.
There was no companies.
Yeah.
The companies didn't exist. So I was like, well, what if I try and make a company?
It was just individuals.
Yeah, it was individuals.
Yeah.
And I don't like working on my own. I don't think that's very fun. I don't like it at all. So I was like, okay, what if I make a company? And we started, me and my wife. And my wife was an accountant at the time. So she was like, I can help set this up. We can do it. So we set up WFB. And we hired Trude and we hired Matty very quickly. And we were like, okay, we have shows coming in. We want to work together.
As employees.
As employees, yeah.
Yeah,
They
nice.
were working freelance at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, we brought them in and we were like, okay, we need help on this. Can you do some programming? Can you build our Ableton sessions? Can you do this? And we started working out what we could do. And then that started going well and started picking up a bit of traction. And we kind of got to 2020 and we had like a year's worth of work already in the calendar for the whole year. And we were like, this is incredible. Like, it's amazing. Then my wife quit her job.
Wow.
To be like, I'll work WFB full time. Like, this is going so well. I can help you across it all. And we're like, yes, let's do it. So we really was what we need. She quit her job a week before the pandemic. We obviously lost all of our work, right? Which was
Should have kept the accounting job for 6 more months.
Literally 6 months. She would have had furlough for 8 months. And
Totally.
and we missed it. And I was like, oh my God. So
it never goes as planned.
No, exactly. But to our earlier point about things going wrong for things to go right,
Yeah.
it all went tits up. And we were like, we had no work and we unfortunately had to let Matty go, and we had another employee at the time. We had to let them go, and it was because he was going to go back on tour and blah blah blah. We kept Trude on because he'd quit all his gigs. He was like, I want to do this full time, so we kept him on. And it got to the pandemic, and Dua was actually just about to release her album. It was coming out like 2 weeks later or something, and it was this disco record designed for clubs and all this. And obviously, being at home is a really big problem. So we actually got together, me and Ace, my wife, and Dua's tour director, Peter. We got together because Dua had all this promo. She had James Corden, she had SNL, she had Fallon, she had all this stuff. And we were like, well, there must be a way for us to do this, right?
Because this is what, like April or May or
this is March. This is
right
is
when COVID's happening.
Right when COVID's happened. And the week after, I think it was the week after the pandemic, we got into lockdown. We had this James Corden thing that was here, and we were all going to fly over and do it, but we couldn't. So we were like, okay, well, maybe we can come up with an idea of what we can do. And we had this idea between the three of us. You probably got sick of them, but you saw all the fake Zoom call performances, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we did the first one.
Wow.
So we did that for James Corden, and it went viral. Therefore, very quickly, all the labels and all the artists are coming to us going, guys, we need some promo. We need some promo. So
can you do that?
So can you do that? So we were like, we can do that. Yes, but we could also do this. We could do this. So we started doing all these remote performances as far as creative direction, doing the music direction, right?
Sorry to interrupt you, but just to be clear, because this was for Future Nostalgia, right?
Yes, correct.
So this is Dua's follow-up.
Yes.
So it's a big deal because she has a big first success.
Yeah.
Successful album. You got, like, do you get the second? Is the follow-up successful or not? Like, we don't know that Dua Lipa is going to become who she is today. It's like, is that going to happen? Is it going to be a hit? So that's a lot of pressure.
This is it. So we did that with Dua, and we made this performance. We were all really happy with it. It was her singing into a laptop and all the dancers at home and the band at home playing, because we wanted to keep everyone paid. They just lost a year of work. So we were like, let's do a performance that involves all the band and dancers. There was 40 people or something. Like, let's bring them all in for this. So we built this thing, and then people started getting in touch with wanting to do more and more stuff.
Can you do these? Yeah.
Can you do so then we kept doing that, and we ended up getting into when the restrictions were got a little bit lighter. We got into stream shows.
Yep.
We rented the Natural History Museum in London, and we did a show in the museum with Paul Mescal and Dermot Kennedy, and that did super well. And then we created Dua's Studio 2054, which is her stream thing, which got into the Guinness World Records of like the most ticketed live thing, or I can't remember the exact thing. So we started building all these kind of creative shows, and we managed to keep our team paid, and the musicians paid, and the dancers paid, and all this. And we started kind of creating things, right? Then Ceremony, which was our company then, the creative company, that continued, and Peter and Ace went on to do the creative direction for BLACKPINK and started working with that too. And to go back to our early conversation, we started with that. And then WFB, off the back of that, just started ticking along more and more and more, and people needed more. And we started finessing our processes and how we worked and looking after people and building shows in a slightly different way to how it was done in the UK. Right. So
BLACKPINK was like the second big client?
BLACKPINK was 6 months after my wife wasn't an accountant anymore.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
You had Dua Lipa and BLACKPINK with your new company.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Which was so cool. So then we did that, and then WFB started growing and growing, and obviously then the second Future Nostalgia tour finally happened, and we built something really good there. And then for me, we'd done a lot of good stuff in the UK, but we'd done a lot of it already, and I can't sit still.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool, America, talk to me. What's going on? So we all got our visas, and we started looking at what America had to offer, and we kind of started working more on American clients and doing that. And now it's probably, it's getting close to 50-50 as far as our UK and our American clients. And we started building the company out, and we've expanded. We hired a project manager and, more MDs and et cetera. And we started building our company out. And we're not a huge company, but we built our studios, we built our office, we built it out and set it up as a proper business, basically, like that. Which for me is brilliant, because I find business as exciting as music.
Yeah.
And the opportunities it brings, I really enjoy.
Even the CEO responsibilities compared to the musical director responsibilities.
There's similarities, honestly. And me and my wife, we definitely do that together. We have strengths and we have weaknesses where the other person can pick up very easily. I think I lead our team very much in the music, of course, and kind of making sure that the kind of quality control is there, is where a lot of my role is, of like constantly pushing, like, that's good, but we could go here, let's do that. And our team is so good.
Yeah.
And again, we don't have any of the emotion.
Yeah.
We can just go, yeah, it's fine. And we go, okay, cool, what should we do? And we have such a good relationship like that. And then Ace and Katie at WFB, very much across how things working every day. Has everyone got too much work on? Is there enough? How's that? Are we chasing billing? Are we doing this? Everything that comes with running a company, right?
HR and accounting and
all of that. So we've built up, our process. God, I could talk about process. That's not what people want to hear on a music podcast at all.
I mean, I run a company. I love talking about process.
And actually, as far as the kind of stuff like that, as far as we time how long it takes to do a song, we clock it. So that then we're billing. We know when people argue back, go, great, yeah, that's fine. But that's what our quote was. And actually, if you look at the numbers here, that says 8 hours. And that's why it charges. We do all that. And we have our CRMs where we have all our versions listed and labeled. And our file management it's a work of art. It's beautiful, right?
That's amazing.
So we take time on that kind of stuff. Because actually we find that once we got on board with the processes and how it all runs, there was so much more time for the music.
Yeah.
When things would start to be automated, or when things started to be in a good order and you weren't chasing files down or looking for a project because now you know that it's within the Dropbox and everything is archived and only the newest one is there. Like, it saves time. It saves if it saves an hour a day, that saves 5 hours a week, which saves 20 hours a month. That's a day's work. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we built that, and we've got so many ideas of what we want to do. Like, sure, live music, absolutely, but we do a lot in sports now. We build one we've done recently is we made all the music for RB Leipzig, the soccer team in the Bundesliga in Germany. We made all their music for their show day.
Nice.
From when people walk in to when they score a goal, and we produced all the music for it and all this. And we work with Amazon and Valentino and all this kind of stuff. And actually the stuff outside there I find so exciting. But still, fundamentally, what we bring to it, I like to think, and God, I feel like I'm giving you the pitch. I just find it really exciting. I'm very inspired doing this. But what we bring to it, I think, is the element of still performance and emotion.
Yeah.
If you are watching a football match, like, how are we going to best push the fan to feel it even more?
Yes.
And that comes from building concerts. There will always be a concert element to what we do. There will always be a performance side, but there are so many similarities within sports, within music, and within all the different worlds we can make it from. So yeah, we're fleshing that out. I have so many ideas of where WFB can go.
Dude, that's so great.
It's really fun.
And the fact that your wife was an accountant, so you have finances tied in, because keeping the books is a lot, man. Keeping the books tight and AP versus AR, right? Like, okay, great, you got to pay the musicians, but the client hasn't paid you yet. Keeping that all aligned, chasing payments.
Yes, there's a lot of that.
Accrual accounting versus cash-based accounting. Where are we at?
Honestly,
I could go on for days with you about this.
Yes,
and there's a lot of pain in that.
There's so much. We've been
so much pain,
and we've been stung. Yeah. I'm sure you have too. Like,
we've
been stung hard. We've lost tens and tens of thousands on projects. Like, it's happened, but then it just, what makes you do is we go, okay, that cannot happen again.
Yeah.
How are we going to make sure that doesn't happen again?
For sure.
Great. It's contracted. It's this. It's blah, blah, blah. It's this much up front. It's blah, we come up with a plan. We work together. We implement it. And everyone is so brilliant. I think everyone within our company, and sure, it's only 6 of us. It's not a huge company. But everyone there is just in their own role pushing for it to be the absolute best in the world.
That's amazing.
And I'm so lucky to be surrounded by such incredible people.
That's so great.
Yeah.
At what point did your wife become creative director?
Lockdown. So she did that.
Is she the first accountant to ever become a creative director?
Potentially.
That's so great. Her old coworkers must be like, "You're doing what with who?"
I know, honestly. Like, she finds herself. She's always been. So we met when we were kids, right? And we met at punk shows.
That's beautiful.
Like, we met.
Oh, you're a punk rocker.
Oh yeah,
same.
You've seen my baggy earlobes.
Dude,
like, come on, like,
come on.
Yeah, like
you had gauges in there.
Of course I did. Like 2 centimeters. They were huge.
I had a lip ring.
Great. I've still got my nose here.
Yeah, dude.
I'm covered in tattoos under all this, honestly. So yeah, we grew up in punk and hardcore, and we met when we were 16 at a punk show in our little town up north. And so she's always been so into music and film and art and everything. And she was an accountant, but ultimately became an accountant at a TV firm, then at a film firm, and then at Rankin, and then at an advertising agency. So always within the peripheral of creativity because she's so good at it. And I think then it just was the push into doing it. And now she's so successful in her own right. It's amazing to see. And it's so inspiring. She is so good. She's
Did you know, or did she know that she had it in her to be a creative director? Like, it's a pivot and a half.
It's a huge pivot. Yeah. She uses her ADHD in the most powerful way.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring, actually. She can think about everything all at once, and she'll have these crazy ideas and just do it. She'll say to me, there was so much, I'm an overthinker and a worrier. I always have been. And there'll be things she'll say to me of like, we'll just do it. Why not? And I'm like, because what? And I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
She'll go, do it. And every time I do it, it's great.
Yeah.
But she has a really good way of just being like, well, I'm just going to do it. So let's go. And she makes it work. I would love for you to sit here. She's the most inspiring person I've ever met. Like,
Oh.
honestly, she's so
Whoops.
brilliant.
Wrong button.
That one. Yeah.
Not the
Keep
laughs.
pressing the red one. Yes, over and over. She's wonderful. Honestly.
That's awesome. I got to meet Ace.
You do.
Wow, that's so beautiful, dude. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's great. And we're building something together, which is so exciting. Like, you know, sitting together and creating and making things. The best tours are when she's doing creative and WFB doing music and creative. We're merging it so WFB is one-stop shop for everything creative and music and bringing it all under one roof. But when we've done tours where we're doing the creative and the music, that's so good.
Yes.
Because then she'll be like, I want it to be this. And she's a very hands-on creative.
Yes.
She'll be like, I want this, I need this, make it for me. We're like, okay, cool. And it's all in the same building. It's so fun when it's that way.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I'm super inspired.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Yeah, she has that effect on everyone.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
How do you, so to go deeper into process and all these kind of things, because I mean, there's a lot of things with Jam Card where we have sometimes a hard time because we want to pay our musicians immediately. But then, like I said, the client hasn't paid us for whatever the gig is or whatever. So how do you handle invoicing? How do you get it so you're like, okay, we're going out on this tour. Do you guys run payroll through WFB or do you run it through the artist on tours? How do you balance that?
It depends on the project.
Yeah.
We used to run the duo band through WFB, but the tours became 3, 4, 5 years and the money was in the hundreds of thousands per person.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we're not getting anything out of this. This is just a lot of work for us. But actually, duo's not benefiting, WFB aren't benefiting, the musicians aren't benefiting. Actually, if anything, we're holding it up.
Right.
So we then passed that back to the production. And we're like, do you know what? We don't need to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas on some projects, like, for example, we do a lot of music with Amazon Music in the UK. And they will come to us and go, we want an orchestral version of this song that we're going to film. Can you do it? And we'll be like, yes. And we'll be like, here is a spreadsheet with our costs. Here are your musicians' costs. Here is this. Here is rental. And we'll produce the whole thing.
Yeah.
They pay us one fee.
Yep.
We hire everyone. And we bring
and
it
you
in.
have your rate baked into there. You're like, here's this. Exactly. This is where it's going down.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So we will do that, and we will set a payment term with the musicians about you'll expect it by this day, and we'll try it with the client where it's half that.
Yep.
Because that's always late.
Yeah.
If we get
always.
if we get it a little bit late, Amazon are actually very good, but if we get it a little bit late, that's fine. We're not stung. And actually, do you know what? We work with amazing musicians and very understanding musicians too. We sometimes go, do you know what, guys? I'm really, really sorry. We're waiting another week on that. We'll wait a week. If not, we'll front it. Not a problem. We just did the Albert Hall thing with Duo, and we put all the choir was just for that show. Yeah. And we were like, great, we'll pay the choir.
Right.
And we've still not got paid for that because of other reasons. Nothing bad, but just there's things to work out still.
Yeah.
And, I'm 50 grand in the hole.
Yeah.
But we know we're getting it. That's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because I trust everyone around it, and that's absolutely fine.
Exactly.
So it really depends on the project. One-offs we'll often do through us, just 'cause actually it's easier. But we can just go, we'll manage the payment, we'll manage the budgeting, we'll negotiate everything with everyone, and we work like that. But tours, we tend to not really do it through us.
For sure.
We hold up the process, and we want to make sure everyone gets paid quickly.
So roles for the 6-person team. So yourself, CEO, your wife is like what, chief financial and creative.
Oh, I'd say honestly, we are joint founders, joint directors. Everything is completely
everything
50-50.
is just everyone shares everything.
Yeah, she heads up all things WFB creative.
Yeah,
I head up all things WFB music, and we have Trude and Charles, who are our full-time music directors, who are beyond incredible. So good. I'll put them in any room and know we'll be fine.
Yes.
So they're here full-time with us. We have Katie, who's our project manager and our assistant, who's in the middle of it all, kind of making sure that we're all running, because we always have, 5 or 6, 7 projects on the go at once. So she needs to make sure that everyone's getting what they need. Everyone is also protected as far as their time, as far as the client's getting what they need, and making sure we're across that there. She works across the music and the creative direction, so she's across the whole thing. And we have Callum, who's our newest addition to the team, who is creative assistant. Nice. And he works in illustration, he helps build shows, he helps do renders, and coming up with great ideas too. So it's a small team. And then we have at any time, usually 4 or 5 freelancers working with us at the same time. We have about 5 at the moment on different projects too. Yeah. Whether that will be for Ableton programming or, hi, do you know what? I need a piano version of that thing. Can you actually make me something and bring it back and I'll pay you this for it? Great. And we work with that as and when we need projects. Or mix engineers. We've usually got someone mixing something all the time.
All the time.
So
all the time.
It does make sense for us to hire a mixer
in-house
at some point
mixer.
soon.
Yeah.
But often at the same time, it does give me the flexibility to go, okay, well, this project, actually, I think this person will be better. So
for sure.
Yeah, we're a full-time team of 6 and then 5 or 6 freelancers.
That's beautiful,
at a time.
Dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, here we are right now. You have Jennie in rehearsals doing Coachella. You have Dua Lipa on a run, right? Out on a run. Who else is out right now? Or is anyone active right now?
At the moment, yeah, we have. I'll talk you through this year and what we kind of have done and what's going on now. So we've just delivered the new Duo World Tour. Has just gone out. I was just in Australia last week, just kind of making sure that was all running. So that's good. And she's about to do UK and Europe stadiums.
Yeah,
which is
huge.
Brilliant, right? We have the new Jennie show, which we built in February, which is now going to the Coachella show now.
Yeah.
We've just delivered the new FKA Twigs tour, which is up and running and is phenomenal, and we're so happy with it.
I can't wait to see that.
It's so good. Yeah. Honestly, it is so good. So we just delivered that. We just did this work with RB Leipzig on all their stuff too. We did working with an incredible British artist called Jade, who was in the girl band Little Mix, who's now doing her own solo stuff, it's the only artist I've ever pitched for.
Wow.
I was just like, I got in touch, I was like, I have to work with her. She's so good. About that, actually. Yeah. So we're working with Jade, so we're building her show, her first show, and we just did the Brit Awards with her. We did a big performance on that with her. We're working with a German label called About You. They're doing their fashion show, which is working with Nike and Adidas and Puma and about 10 brands, where we're doing all the mixtapes for that basically, which is really, really fun. We have the Sister Sisters reunion tour, which we're doing, which is really good. They got an arena tour starting next month, so we're building that at the moment.
And you love disco.
I love it.
Yeah,
I met them, and I obviously knew the music. But I met them, and I just loved their energy so much.
So
I was like, we have to do this.
Yeah.
So we're building that at the moment. I'm just kind of going through my head. As far as creative direction, we're doing the UK and the Azerbaijan entry for Eurovision. Do you know about Eurovision?
Nice. Oh, nice.
So huge,
yeah, absolutely.
Huge thing in Europe. So we're doing the
and Azerbaijan.
And Azerbaijan, yeah, which was so amazing. Speaking to my wife Ace about it, she just went out to Azerbaijan to meet the team, and they were like, "This is such an opportunity to show our music to the world."
Yeah,
and we're
absolutely.
Like, this is what an honor that we get to do that.
So cool, dude. So very cool.
So we got those two shows, which are pretty big, and a few kind of up and coming creative artists we're working with too, like new artists that we're kind of establishing their kind of overall creative for their campaigns. And
I didn't realize that Middle East would be in Eurovision.
It's honestly, they have the song's great.
Wow,
the song's really good, and yeah, we're doing that, and we're doing the UK and a few kind of up and coming artists that we're working with there on building their whole kind of creative world around what their album campaign is going to be and what their music video is going to be. We're starting to do that. We're designing all their merch. We're doing all that. So. Yeah, I think that's...
designing merch,
we're doing merch
too.
Yeah. That's something that since we brought Callum in, he's so good at merch, we started being able to go, do you know what, we can do that too. And so we're trying to branch and make a really cool thing. I think there's some more, but I think that's all I can think of the top of my head.
Yeah. You're the only music director I've heard talk about designing the merch for the artist. Because it's a creative company.
It's the package. I'd really say that music direction is a percentage of our company now. We're building something, just a one-stop creative world, really.
How do you balance it? Like, if Dua is out and she needs this, and there's a change, and Jennie's here or whatever, and Post comes back and wants to do, it's just worked out calendar-wise? You just push as hard as you can, or is there something holding you back that would allow you to grow more?
A little bit. Personnel.
Yeah,
we all want and need more people. We are understaffed, definitely.
Why not staff? It's just hard to find the right talent.
The talent is fine. The energy. We are a family,
and
we work with amazing people. And I don't want to sound like this is negative and that we're not growing. Like everything's growing, everything's good in that way.
Of course, yeah.
But I think that we are very, very picky as far as who we have around and what we have and how we want that to be. I think that as far as the juggling. There is juggling. There's a lot of juggling. But what we do very early on... Catfish and the Bottom, it's a show we're doing at the moment. They're doing stadiums in the UK. We are building something where we introduce the artist very early to the whole team. Because each person within our team offers something different. So, yes, there might be a new tour that comes around, but great, maybe that needs 3 days of Trude and 4 days of me and 6 days of Charles and whatever. So we can split it out quite well.
For sure.
Like that. There are some clashes, and sometimes it really goes badly, actually. But the majority of the time, it's okay. And I trust our team so much. And all it takes is for them to come in and do one day, and all productions are like, oh, this person's great.
Yeah.
And now it's the point, which is I love this. I remember walking in a rehearsal with Jessie Ware, who I just adore. And we've done her shows for the last two albums. And I walked in, and Trude is the lead on Jessie Ware.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and she went, oh, where's Trude? And I was like, no, okay. But actually, for me, that was always my goal.
That's great.
That's always my goal.
That's
because I
perfect,
want to be there for me to be good
Yeah.
in what I do. I work very well as an executive producer. I work very good at coming up with the ideas at the beginning, and I work very well at being able to go that no, yes.
Yes.
I'm very good at that. Whereas sometimes, if I have to spend 2 weeks on the absolute finite details,
Yeah.
I'm not so good at that.
Yeah.
So actually, what we do so well is have the ability now for Charles in the UK, who's plowing through all the programming for Scissor Sisters and going through that. And we'll have a check-in soon. I'll be able to go, have you noticed this and this? And he goes, do you know what? I didn't, because I've been so in it. And I get that always, that outside perspective. Why it's so easy for a musician to look on stage and go, well, I'd do it differently.
Yeah.
I get that across all of our projects too, because
Yeah.
I have to live across every single project.
Absolutely.
And our team get to work on the kind of one project at a time.
Yeah.
So actually it works really well like that too.
Do you have a project that's like your baby project that gets the most attention?
No.
No.
I actually don't. And I genuinely, whether the show is in a pub or if it's in a stadium,
Yeah.
they get the absolute same attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really proud of that, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're a rare person, because I feel like, obviously I'm born and raised in the US scene. I'm deeply embedded in the US scene. When we launched Jamcard a couple years ago, I wanted to learn more about the UK scene, because it really is so different
Yes.
than the US scene. And I feel like you're maybe the first guy to kind of have like a half US, half UK
Maybe.
roster coming out of the UK, right? So, or maybe there's others, but still you have unique knowledge, right? What would you say is something that is a positive about the UK scene that the US scene doesn't have, and vice versa?
Good question. Where do I start? Okay, it's very different. I actually think, for me, the US scene suits how my brain works a little better.
Because it's more company based. It's more like do a handful of artists at once.
Yeah. There's an element of, I think, because it's a bigger market and a bigger country, there's probably 1,000 arena acts in the US. Right?
Yeah. You can try to feast.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's probably 7 in the UK.
Yeah.
And we probably do 2 of them.
Wow.
You've got your Duas, your Ed Sheeran, your Adele, your Harry.
Yeah.
But actually, as far as global, there's such a finite, just because it's a small market, right?
For sure.
So I like in the US, I think what I love so much, especially in LA, I adore it here so much, is we can talk about our successes and our goals, and you will give me a high five and go, yeah,
let's go.
Go for it.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about the US. In the UK, if you talk about your successuccesses and your goals, people are, all right, mate, calm down.
Yeah.
You think,
totally.
And I'm a very, I want to do, I'm not ashamed.
Trying kind of hard.
Exactly.
Right now.
Exactly. But like, I'm not ashamed to say, like, I want to do really well.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I think, so that's something I love in the US.
Yeah.
I love that success is celebrated here. Someone said it to me a while ago. They were like, oh, LA, do you not just hate that everyone's just kind of chasing a dream? And I was like, no, that's why it's so good.
Yeah.
Because everyone has something they want to push.
Yeah.
However, on the flip side, in the UK, that attitude is why everyone is so funny and so good to hang with.
Right.
Because you're like, oh yeah, whatever, mate. Fine. And actually it makes the rehearsals and everything super fun.
Yeah.
The musicians are great fun. I don't know. I think there's a mentality in the US. I feel like it's a lot more professional out here.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying any disrespect to the UK at all. I love it there and I love working there so much. But I think that with it being a smaller pool and people kind of coming into these worlds, there's only so many. Let me put it this way. There are some incredible musicians in the UK.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. But there are so few that are constantly in work because of how small our country is. Whereas the US, there are so many acts and so many artists that incredible musicians can be full-time all the time and make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that's where the UK suffers just because of the size of our country. People I can think of, like incredible people who are also teachers or, do all sorts of stuff, which is brilliant and amazing. But I would also like them to not have to do that if they didn't want to. I think a lot of people I know do that because they love it, and that's so good. I love that so much.
Right.
But I think I'd also like the ability for people to be able to just be constantly on tours doing arenas, but it just doesn't happen so much. So I find that quite difficult in the UK, and I find that good here. Just the possibilities are endless here. Success is celebrated a lot more here, I think, than in the UK.
Absolutely. And failure.
And failure, yeah. And I also think that here, I like that global is thought about instantly.
Yeah.
I don't think about British act or American act in that way.
Right.
If I'm taking on a British act, I have to check very first with management and with them if they're thinking globally. If they're like, I just want to do arenas in the UK, I'm out. I don't want to do it. I'm not interested at all. But if they're like, yeah, it's great, then we're going to do this and we're going to go LA, we're going to do this and we've got this idea because in America I want to go XYZ, then I'm in.
Yes.
I just want to do global. And I think America is already thinking global. And obviously, as far as being British and breaking America is so difficult.
Yeah.
But the people, even if it doesn't work, it doesn't bother me at all. But they need to go into it willing to try.
For sure.
So I find that really exciting when you meet the artists that do that too.
How did you do it, right? I mean, you're not a band, but you as a music director, as a UK music director, a UK creative company, breaking into the US, getting US clients.
Trying. Yeah. Very much trying. Trying.
I mean, of course, you already had a strong resume that was consistently active, so I'm sure that helps a lot.
Yes. I think with anything, and I think any musicians, and especially kind of professional ones that listen to this, can maybe agree with this. It takes one name on your CV to start being able to get more and more stuff. If someone hands me a resume and it doesn't have any names I know, I'm looking for what I need to look for.
Right.
But if I get handed a resume and it has, it's got Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo, I'm sure they're great.
Yeah.
You almost at that point go, okay, cool. Well, we know they're not going to be an idiot on tour.
Right.
You know, that's fine. So I think
we hope.
We hope. But I think as far as coming to America, I think, I've been working here since 2009, I think now. So I know it quite well.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously, again, Dua's success has been a huge, she's taken me up with her. I absolute credit where credit's due there.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, I've had to try and sustain it there, but she's given me she's the reason I've done the Grammys. She's the reason I've done SNL. Like she's brought me to those places.
For sure.
And then from there, it's my role to be able to then go, how do I then continue that momentum?
Absolutely.
Within my own stuff too.
Absolutely.
Obviously, then when I started working with Post Malone, that helped a lot. And then off the back of that, I was able to meet the team with Kid Laroi.
Yeah.
Working with Kid Laroi has been so amazing too. And then next thing you know, you have 3 artists who are quite well, do quite well in America. And then you can start then going, we've done these things, cool. And then you start being able to work on other things. Honestly, sure. I actually had this conversation with Trude the other day. For me, I feel like the front man in my own band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's really exciting. That's never gone away from being in a band. Yeah. When I was 16, 17, being in my shitty hardcore bands and things like that, you're constantly like, oh my God, we've got a gig supporting this hardcore band. That's amazing. Oh my God, we sold 5 t-shirts. Great. Okay, how can we sell 10 next time? Do this. I genuinely don't think there's a correlation between the amount of people, and you must see it so much, right?
No.
Of people who have come from punk and hardcore who have ended up doing well within music.
Absolutely,
because
bro.
It's all about ethos and work and workflow and not workflow, but ethos and drive and passion. It all comes from passion, right?
Yeah,
the amount of people I meet, and I'm like,
it's a passionate
I know you
music
from
genre.
somewhere. Yeah. I'm like, where do I know you from? And they're like, oh, I've done this gig and this gig. I'm like, no, it's not that. And you go, were you ever in an emo band? They're like, yeah. What was it? And I know the funny one was when I met Josh Freese and Sting and Shaggy a few years back when they did a show, and I knew the manager.
Like, were you in the Vandals?
That's my conversation. I met, and I was like, "Oh my God, I love the Vandals." And he literally said to me,
like,
"Was just
I love
like
Anarchy Burger."
And he was just like, the amount of stuff I've done, and everyone talks to me about fucking Vandals. And I was like, yeah. I was like,
Josh too.
I know, and that was what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
and there's so many things like that I've met, and I'm just like,
he's like, "Don't you want to talk about 9 Inch Nails?"
No,
you're like, no.
A really good story that I have, and this it sounds so name droppy, it isn't. It's just to this point of I met Jack Antonoff.
Yeah.
When he was in Steel Train. I don't know if you remember Steel Train.
I toured with Steel Train.
Did you? On Drive Through Records,
dude,
right?
Drive Through. Richard and Stephanie were my manager when I was 18.
This is the coolest thing you've ever said to me. We need to talk about this afterwards. Like, this is really exciting. Yeah. So we met when I was with LaRue and I was 20 and Steel Train were playing the festival.
Yeah.
So I went up, knocked on the dressing room door and Jack was there and his sister Rachel. And I was like, I'm really sorry to bother you. I'm playing with LaRue. My name's William. And I think we were mutual friends in Passion Pit, if you remember them.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like, I had Alley Cat on a sampler and it was my favorite song for so long. I just wanted to say thank you. I love your music so much. And we met and we got on, and then obviously Fun happened, his band Fun.
Yeah.
Huge success. And then I bumped into him at a festival and was like, dude, this is incredible. Like, congratulations. He's like, thank you. And then obviously he's gone on to
become
the biggest producer in the world. And I saw him last time we did the Grammys, we had like an after show thing. And him and Rachel were there. And I was like, they won't remember who I am. And we were like, nice to see you. How you doing? Good to catch up. And I was like, dude, you're killing it. He's like, yeah, I know. Oh my God. I got it. But again, like it's the same ethos of like, he's
Absolutely,
pushing and pushing and pushing. There has to be a correlation between that and that scene. There really does. There are so many examples like that I could give.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that kind of work ethic that's instilled with you at 16 when you're in a punk band or an emo band or something.
I was in I left high school and started touring in my punk band when I was 15.
Really?
Bro, and I never went to school again.
Really?
Like, yeah, I did not go to college or anything.
And do you feel the same as far as your ethic to kind of push and push and push? Do you still feel like Jam Card is your band, you know?
Absolutely, Jam Card's my band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same feeling.
I just have a band with thousands of musicians.
Great,
in it.
amazing.
It's
and you're
awesome.
finally the front man.
No, finally the singer. No. That's why if you go to a jam and you see me on the mic, it's almost a joke because I treat it like it's a WWE match or something.
I love
and
that.
I'm like McMahon. But no, dude, yeah, the punk scene, the emo scene, dude.
Yeah.
I was like 16 and I was touring with a Newfound Glory before they were
Really?
Newfound Glory, right? And I
Wow.
was touring with the Ataris, and I was touring with
shit.
I was playing with Richard and Stephanie and the Drive Through Crew. I was playing with Phoenix TX.
Oh
and,
my God,
like,
all of
the
this.
whole thing, dude.
You see, as a
Like-
kid, I grew up in a very small village in the north of England.
Yeah,
Imagining what California or New Jersey was like in that time,
yeah,
it was a dream. It was genuinely a dream. You imagine, I rode BMX, but we had to ride
Yeah.
BMX in the rain, and here
Yeah.
everyone was riding it in the sun.
the
Like,
sun.
do you know what I mean? Like, there was this whole world which you created an
yeah.
image, and for me, like, this is why I'm 37, but I'm still a big kid. Like,
yeah.
I come to LA and I'm driving past Hollywood High, and I'm like, it's the handrail,
Yeah.
you know, from skating and BMXing.
Yes,
like,
dude,
there
that's
it is.
There it is.
There it is.
I know
mean,
it from the VHS videos.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. And I still feel that here, and there's something so enjoyable. And to
Yeah.
kind of go back to your question as far as like the US, I've been such a big fan of the US, and US music has shaped me. Like, I grew up on US music. I still listen to US music like all the time,
Yeah.
and it feels just. I'm genuinely honored to be a part of it now.
Yes,
Because I
dude.
dreamt of being a part of it.
Yes,
you know,
man.
there's still
That's
so much to
awesome.
do.
We're happy
but-
to have you here,
Ah.
especially the punk rock kids, man.
Oh, I need to go. Like, you know, last time we were here, I went to see the Deftones show in the
Sick.
Forum, and
Yeah.
it was incredible. And the Mars Volta supporting, and it's just
So
like,
sick.
and that was because Dua Lipa's lighting director had built the Deftones show.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, oh my God, can you get me? And he
Guess
got me
this.
in. And this is the coolest stuff that happens.
You're in the
is when-
Forum Club for
Yeah.
the Deftones. You're like, whoa.
This is it. And this is the cool stuff that happens
Yeah,
now. It's
dude.
like just using pop just to live all my alternative dreams now. Honestly, it's
Bro,
brilliant.
growing up in LA, being in the punk rock scene. I mean, I was on Warp Tour when I was 16.
Really?
Yeah, I did the full Warp Tour when I was like, I don't know, 16.
Was it as hard
18,
as it
20.
looked? Because
So hot. I was
Yeah.
in, the first 2 years I did it, I was in a van, a 15 passenger van. That's when you really learn. And you're setting up merch every day. You're hustling. You know, you're setting up your drums. You're playing in the fucking sun
and it's like every day, isn't it? There's
every
no days off,
day,
right?
and you're playing in parking lots of the stadiums, right? Not the stadiums, so like the parking lots, right?
Wow.
But I loved it. I
Yeah.
was 16, 17, 18, 19.
Did you get to stand round the back? You know, when I watched it on the, you know,
I was
I had
always
the
on stage,
samplers,
side
yeah.
stage, or I was
Oh.
drumming. I was drumming, and then everyone would be side
You've
stage.
lived my dream,
Dude, you
Do you
know
know this?
Yeah, that
This is
was-
genuinely what I dreamt about being at these things.
When I was 16, dude, backstage. So every night on Warped Tour, this is funny to talk about. I haven't thought about this in a while, but every night on Warped Tour, I don't know if you heard about this, but there was the Warped Tour barbecue.
Of course I heard about
Right,
this.
so that was like backstage, or not even backstage, where all the buses and vans were parked.
Yes.
Just in it, there was the barbecue, and then at the end of the tour, every single year, on either the last night or in the last week, there was always the drum off for the best drummer on Warped Tour.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and
So who have you played with then? You must have played with all my heroes.
so I was
I'm
like 16 or 17 that year, and I won the competition. And I was going up against, it was me and it was Jordan from Strung Out,
sure.
right?
Yes.
and it was Rev from Avenged Sevenfold.
He's
but
good as well.
But
right?
Avenged Sevenfold was playing the Kevin Says stage
Right.
in front of 50 people.
Wow.
This is Avenged Sevenfold in a van, right? Like,
Wow.
and so yeah, so I've known I've known that scene since I was a kid, and that I remember I was the youngest kid on Warped Tour until young Sonny Moore came on
Of
Warped Tour.
course. Yeah.
And with From First to Last,
Yeah.
and then he was singing, then we became friends, and then when he started Skrillex, he asked me to be his drummer so he could
No way.
start or have it be more of a show. I
Yes.
gave Sonny his first shows as Skrillex was at my club that I was promoting when I was 22 in Hollywood.
Wow.
First it just said Sonny Moore, then it said DJ Sonny Moore.
I remember this.
Then all of a sudden it said DJ Skrillex, and then Skrillex formerly Sonny Moore,
Yeah.
aka Sonny. And I was on drums with him for those shows, and that's how I knew LaRue, because Sonny and I would do a version of going in for The Kill.
Yes.
And we would play it live. There's videos of me and Sonny 15 years ago as a duo, drummer DJ playing in for The Kill.
I would love to see that.
So when I was researching what you were doing today, since we scheduled this today, and I saw the LaRue thing, I was like, I remember LaRue. We did that. I did that song with Skrill.
No way. How funny.
So that's another one of my hardcore friends, right? Like dude, it keeps going. There's a lot of us.
Well, we need to talk fully about this. Maybe
I did a deal with Fender.
Right.
This is one of your stories of with Jack Antonoff.
Yeah.
I was doing a deal with Fender, and I was with the CMO and the CEO, and I was in their, conference room with like the C-suite, and I'm talking to Matt, this guy, and he was like, I think I know you from, we know each other from somewhere. I was like, oh, maybe this is, and he was like, no, he was like, not from any of the pop stars I had played with years later. He was like, it's before that. Were you on Warped Tour?
Oh my God,
he was in the starting line. He was the bass player or the guitar player for the starting line. He was the guitar. Matt Waz is the guitar player. Shout out to Matt. And I was like, dude, what? It's just like.
And don't you feel you kind of you're like in a club after that?
Yeah.
You've like it's almost just like emos unite around the world, and you meet them, and like I don't know if you remember, there was a boy band called The Wanted. Do you remember The Wanted?
Of course, I remember The Wanted. Yeah.
So I went to see the Wanted because my friend Duncan was touring with them as a production manager, and I came to the show and I was watching it, and I was like, I recognize everyone on that stage, and I was like. That drummer that's Tucker from Thursday.
Oh, Tucker's my boy. Tucker rule. We were on Warped Tour together.
This is it. And the guitarist was like, I think it was the guys from Autumn to Ashes or something. And I was like, this is the band I always wanted to see, but they're playing pop music. I was like, it's incredible. And then you meet them, and you're in this kind of like, this little club of like, I don't know. It's
another thing that we would do. This is a funny thing to talk about. Another thing that we would do back in the Warped Tour days is when you were make friends with the other bands on the Warped Tour, sometimes you would switch buses.
Yes.
So I remember for like 2 weeks, I ended up riding with Poison the Well.
Look, honestly,
when Poison the Well was at their height,
nerdy level, like nerdy time. I messaged Chris. I met Chris.
Chris is
and I messaged
the homie.
I thought I was going to be in town on Thursday. They just played, and I was just like, "Please, can you sort me out?" And he was going to, but I didn't get in until Sunday in the end. But we used to play at my best friend's house, and we usually had a whole broken china cymbal, and we always used to try and play the nerdy break at the end. We were going to hire Chris for Post Malone.
Oh, that would be great.
We pitched him for Post Malone actually because we ended up using an amazing drummer called Jacopo.
Yeah, Jacopo's the homie. I love Jacopo.
One of the best drummers I've ever worked with. So great.
I met Jacopo because I'm friends with Bloody Beetroots.
Yeah,
Bloody Beetroots
thing, right?
Put Jacopo in, and he introduced me to Jacopo back then.
Yeah,
and that's how I met him. And then when he got Post, I was like,
and he is fellow. Like we'd be in rehearsal, just being like, right, you need to play like your Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath, and he'd be like, right, cool. I know
exactly what to do.
Exactly.
I love that you're giving context of like play this Under Oath, Phil.
Yeah. It was
Jacopo,
literally just like, he knew it perfectly. He was like, well, of course I know it. Like I was stupid for even suggesting it. I was like, well, yeah, of course.
That makes me really happy.
Yeah.
I was happy to see when he got the Post gig. I didn't realize that you were the MD on that. That's awesome.
And it was amazing. And do you know what?
With Bonnie.
With Bonnie, who's now the keyboard player for Jennie.
For Jennie. Yeah.
So we moved her to that.
Dude, Bonnie and I go way back too. Really? Early jam card days.
She's an emo.
Yeah, for sure she is, dude.
She's
for
in.
Sure.
We've had long chats about that. But she's brilliant. That Posty band that we had on the last tour, it's one of my favorite bands we've ever worked with.
It looked awesome. And you guys did that show at the Louvre and everything. What the hell?
It was amazing.
Amazing.
And we had this thing, and the Posty tour was really interesting. Obviously, we did the first 12-carat record we did with just him and Track.
Yeah.
And he was like, I think I want to do a band. And we were like, we need to do this.
Yeah.
And the production manager was like, look, fly to Norway, come to the show, because it was our tour still out. And he was like, come chat with Austin. Let's let's go through it.
Come to what show?
Posty's show in Norway.
Come to the Post Track show to talk about the band show.
About it. And we we sat down, and I was just like, okay, let's go. Let's talk about this. And I was like, can I pitch what I think this should be? And I was like, it needs to be a rock show. It needs to be this. I saw your Nirvana thing, and I was like, it's so good. It was so good. People want to do that. These songs would translate so well. Don't worry, they will still have 808s and the trap hats, and when they're needed, that will all still be there. But we can enhance this, and the stuff you've done, Take What You Want, songs like this, we can lean into those big guitars. We can actually do this. And he was like, let's do it. He was like, one condition though. I was like, what? And he was like, I want a string section. And I was like, yeah. I was like, you've seen Symphony and Metallica. He was like, of course. I was like,
course.
Okay, great. I was like, okay, cool. So let's do it. So the band we had were so good. Liv on guitar, and we had Dan, who's now with Shabuzi, and we had Bonnie, and we had Jacopo, and an incredible string section we had. And that was amazing. And I think that the fun thing we did is we actually went to Salt Lake City to his dad's garage. His dad has got this garage they do up cars. And they were like, we're going to rehearse, but I want to be near home. So let's build a rehearsal studio was like, okay.
Awesome.
So they took his garage and they soundproofed it out, and there was a control room, and they brought all the package in and all this, and there were risers. It was incredible. It was really good. And they did it in like 3 weeks. It was really amazing. And we went there, and Posty was in every day for a week. And bear in mind, the story I told you before, he turned up the night before. He was in every day, and his vaults of guitars came in, which cost more than I will ever earn in my life. Right? There was some incredible stuff in there, right? Yeah. So, and he came in, and he was just playing, and he was jamming, and him and the band would just stay and jam, and we just let him get on with, like, it was amazing. And it's actually probably one of my favorite shows we've ever made. That last Posty band when we did.
I'm bummed I didn't get to see it because I was watching all the footage online and I was like, this looks incredible. And it was all the homies, like, and I was so happy to see Post in that element. So kudos to you, man. I didn't realize that was you, but that's so cool because when I saw Post doing a rock show, I was like, yes.
Well, this is it, because I think that the important thing is that I'm fundamentally going into any of these projects, like, I'm a fan. I'm a Post Malone fan, and if I want, basically, my job is quite easy. I just tell people what confidently what I'd like to see at their show.
Yes.
And if it works once in a while, people start trusting your opinion. And I was just like, I want to see, he wanted a band, yes, but I was like, I want to see you fronting a rock band. And I was like, and I think a lot of other people would like to see that too.
Yeah.
So we just basically, our team, they love heavy music at WFB as well. And we were like, guys, let's make the Post Malone hardcore show. Let's make what we want that to be. There were beatdowns in it. There was all sorts of stuff in there. There was so much stuff. And we were like, let's just make that show. There was the We Want. There's this whole bit that was like this kind of 3-minute costume change thing. He didn't costume, but he just went off for a break. And it was like a post-rock section. It was like pure explosions in the sky, or like, I remember the conversation coming up where we referenced Sleep, for example.
Yes.
Like, come on, it's people in that crowd won't know who Sleep are, but but we referenced that kind of stuff, and we just built the show that we'd want to see Posty do.
Wow!
And luckily, everyone else loved it because I loved it because I was getting to watch the show that I wanted to see.
Yes,
But yeah, he's fantastic.
Now he's doing the country.
He's doing the country thing, which isn't us.
Yeah.
That's with a Nashville band, and I feel
you got to have the Nashville band. With the country. You can't fake the country thing.
A kid from the north of England trying to come and do this, like, I'm just like, yeah, fine. So
that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I'm going to see them on
why
Coachella.
Was he doing, or does he just like doing the track show? Like, because I always, like, as a Post fan and as a friend and everything, I'm always like, duh. I mean, he's great on his own. He's amazing. But I'm like the band. It's so great with him. Like,
it's so good with the band. I think that to shatter a lot of illusions, bands are really expensive.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's probably a huge part of it.
Yeah.
I think that obviously musically there are some songs that work well with band and some that don't work as well.
Yeah.
And I think for me, what I pitched at the time and what I still believe is that how good is it to have both options? You can go somewhere and turn up and do a track show, and people can get a really kind of proper electronic hip hop experience. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
Then you can go and do a shed in the middle of America and play a rock show. How cool is it that you have all these options? So I think it's the variation of having all of it.
It's funny because me as a selfish drummer, right? So like I told you I was with Post for the Saudi show. Just like 200,000 people, biggest stage in the world. That Middle Beast.
It's impressive, isn't it?
The Soundstorm, what they call it, Big Beast is the name of the stage.
Yes.
Do you know Heather Shaw?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I not worked with her, but
Heather I grew up with also.
Right.
And Heather she creative directed Big Beast this year, which was awesome.
Cool.
But anyways, and she had Muse and whoever else they had this year. But for me, I was like, all right, I'm excited to see Post on this giant ass stage. And I was like, oh yeah, track show. Just like, I'm like, not even a DJ. Like, just a track show on this giant, on the biggest stage in the world.
Yeah, isn't he good enough to fill it?
Yeah. Oh, like, dude, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But I know that I have a different opinion. I don't have the same opinion of the 200,000 people. They just want to hear the songs and see Post, right? So I get that. So I went to I was backstage with him in this villa. We were hanging and, doing the Post hang as it is. Then went back to watch his show. And I remember just being like, God, I wish there was a band. But it was me, but I was the only person that had that thought because the whole audience was just watching Post and just Post's face on these giant ass LEDs. Yeah. And I remember I was with the guy the CEO of Middle Beast, was in my suite, or in the suite that I was in. It was not my suite, it was my friend's suite. We were in the same suite, as was Dre London and Austin and everything, the Post camp. And he was like, look, we're about to break the world record for largest fireball. And it was like during Rockstar, right in the break, on the downbeat on the chorus, right?
Brilliant.
And they're just like, the biggest.
Was it amazing?
Biggest fire stream it was like 400 feet or something.
Oh.
Unbelievable. But it's like Post can't see this for sure.
No.
It's like
Behind. But here's a funny thing. I was talking to someone about this the other day. No matter how old and jaded and experienced you get, confetti and fire are still so exciting.
so exciting.
Do you know what I mean? When it
Yeah.
happens and you're just like, I still smile. Even if I know it's coming, it still makes me smile.
Dude,
especially
for sure.
that big. I would love that.
Man, yeah, so that show was great. So the track show was great. And I saw the track show a couple times. I wish I saw the live band show, dude.
It was good. Hopefully it comes back at some point.
Hopefully it comes back, please.
really
Even
good.
just for a one-off with me. Let's do a jam. We need to do the Post Malone jam.
I'm sure
with
he
the
would.
full
I'm
band,
sure he would
bro.
do that. You know?
He would love it, dude.
Well, you should
That's
get
so up his alley.
You should get the Posty band to come do that. They're still very close. They all talk a lot, and they'd be very good at that.
That'd be fun. Okay, so now I know more about you now and that's why you thought you knew Luke Holland. Luke Holland was in here. So Kim said what up before you filmed because Luke is huge in that hardcore world, and he's out with Falling in Reverse right now. The tour that he's on, they just headlined the Forum and sold it out. I went most fire I've ever seen in a show, like more than Rammstein.
I love that.
It was so much fire.
So much.
Okay, so one thing just to close off on and it really shows your diversity, but the fact that you are doing FKA Twigs, like one of the most creative, unique artists, like makes wonderful music, but so not pop, even though she's found herself into a somewhat of a mainstream for being so left of center. Yeah. Right. That's so cool that you're on that gig. Yeah. And so your music's directing that, and you got that tour going out, or it's out.
It's just come out.
It's just come out.
And it's been really rewarding because it's been hard work. Yeah. It's been very hard work, but that's again because her bar is so high. Yeah. And she has so many ideas all the time. It's brilliant. It's so good. So we started working with Twigs a couple of years ago now. Yeah. We did a show for British Vogue, where we did a medley of two of her songs, and it surprised me. She said she'd never had a music director before.
Really?
Yeah. And it was very weird. And we got introduced by a mutual friend who was actually managing Twigs at the time. And we got brought in to kind of help with that and put the medley together and help with her performance. And
did she like that you were coming from like this pop world?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'm not sure actually. But it was weird. There was this kind of, when two dogs meet each other and they're kind of trying to, or two cats and they're trying to suss each other out. Yeah. There was a moment she did something and I was like, I don't love that. And she was like, huh? And it clearly, like, people had not ever said anything about performance. I was like, what we could do though is this. And she kind of processed it and went, okay. And it worked. And then it was
Was it a musical choice or a visual? Okay.
It was a musical choice. Yeah. And it worked. And it was like, oh, okay. And you could see we kind of worked each other out then. So we did this thing for Vogue, and then a year goes by, nothing happens. And we did this thing for Valentino. We did this fashion show in Paris for Fashion Week. And it was a whole piece where there was, dancers were picking up rocks and sand, and there's all this.
I saw clips of that. It looked wild.
So it was so exciting that, and there were 5 songs within it, a whole mix. We did a 25-minute mix with her incredible producer Corliss, and all the sound design came into it and everything. We built something quite special. And then when the tour came around, it came in quite last minute, and she had really big ideas of what she wanted to do, and we did it. It was hard work, really hard work, but I'm proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it. Charles at WFB, he did God's work on that. He was in there for the majority of the time because it was running at the same time as all the Dua production rehearsals and the RB Leipzig stuff and Brits as well. So Charles was in there. He did some long hours, did some fantastic work on there. And the show is really good. And for me, I think to your point there, as far as it being, working with quite left of center things, I'm really, really fortunate, and we're really fortunate at WFB that we do say no to 80% of the things that come through our door. Yeah. And we're so selective on our roster of who we work with and why we work with them. And, for me personally, it's if I imagine their name pops up in my inbox, do I smile or do I frown? Yeah, yeah. If I smile, I'll want to work with them. If I'm frowning before it's even started, no, I'm not going to do this. But what it means is we get artists, if we do pop, we do Dua, which is a very interesting pop.
Yeah,
if we do
very musical pop.
Very musical pop. If we do want to do something super strange, and like strange as far as pop music, but as far as left, we work with Twigs, or we work with some kind of producers that you will have never heard of, purely because it makes us really happy to do. Yeah, yeah. When we work in pop in the UK, the most exciting artist in pop in the UK right now is Jade. Great. So we're doing Jade. So we really, really selective about who we do, and it has to make us go, they're trying to do something different. If it doesn't do that, it doesn't pass our inbox. It doesn't get there. So Twigs is one, when that came in, I was just like, this is a no-brainer. We have to do this. She is so good. I've been a fan of hers for years. I've got all her records anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
My wife has all her records. And I remember when we first got together, we were listening to her record together. I remembered that when we were kind of doing the rehearsals. And I was like, okay, in my head, I was like, what would Ace have wanted to have seen 5 years ago? What would she want in a show? How would she want that? And, it's a fun project.
I love your relationship with your wife, dude. It's so inspiring.
She's the best in the world.
It's a goal. I hope to have that one day. I love the creative partnership, the loving, the respect you have for her, and you're glowing as you talk about her. It's a very beautiful thing.
She's the best person in the world. She's the best thing by a mile that's ever happened to me. Professionally, she's so inspiring. She's so talented. I would hate life without her. She's the best.
That's beautiful.
The best, honestly.
You said Red Bull and you're saying RB Live. Are you talking about Red Bull Formula One Red Bull?
Soccer.
Oh, soccer.
See, I'm a big soccer fan.
Okay. I'm a big Formula One fan.
You see, I want to get into there. We met all the Red Bull team. It was brilliant. And
I can't believe you said soccer just because I'm American.
I'm trying.
You love America.
I'm really trying to embrace it here. Don't show this. Maybe you can beep in. If I just say the word football, you can then know a clip for when it goes in the UK, right? Because I'll get killed. RB Leipzig, they're in the Bundesliga, which is the German Premier League.
Nice.
And they got in touch with us about this amazing thing. So I would like sports. I love sports.
Yes.
I love football, soccer so much.
Are you an F1 guy at all?
I enjoy it. I enjoyed the documentary.
You're British, dude.
I know, but it's
come on.
Don't get me started. It's I don't know. I'm quite actually. I'm not even going to go there. I never.
What?
I don't.
Say it.
There's a class thing as far as Formula One. As far as it was designed for rich people.
Sure.
And grew up not like that. And the UK has a real. I don't really want to get into class stuff, but it's like there's an element of like the working person sport and this, and there was a whole thing. And
that's a very British thing.
It's a very British thing. It's a very British thing. But I went to the Singapore F1.
Nice.
We did a show there actually.
Who was that? With Dua?
With Dua in 2018.
Nice.
And we got seats.
Hot as shit, right? That's like the hottest race of the year.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? It was very exciting.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, I also did the Formula E.
Oh.
I did a show for Formula E in London, which is the electric one. It's hilarious. Like I have electric car. I love electric cars, but
same.
They sounded like little hair dryers.
Yeah.
Like obviously, you go and see the F1 and it just growls.
Yeah,
right?
rips.
It rips around.
Yeah.
And then you just heard this little vee, vee, vee. And they're really fast, but it was so quiet. And they kept having to stop to swap the cars because they had to charge it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really funny. But I do like F1. I just don't follow it. But I would like to work in the F1.
Absolutely.
I think that would be really exciting.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that documentary though.
Oh yeah, Drive to Survive. Yeah, it's very well done.
Any sports documentary like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Netflix is killing the sports doc games.
So good, right?
Did you see The Last Dance?
The
Bulls one, Jordan. Gee, that's one of the most inspiring.
100, especially running a business.
Running a business.
Honestly, that was.
We got to watch it again.
Me too. I'm going to.
Let's do it, and we can text each other through it.
Love that. Let's do that. It was so good. I love all that stuff so much. Yeah,
man. Well, dude. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me so much.
It's been so great to hang.
Yeah.
I wish you a happy Coachella.
Thank you.
And a happy rest of your giant 2025.
Thank you.
Make a ton of noise. William Bowerman, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Let's go. I'm coming to London.
This is the stuff, man.